Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is your business. It's about the relationships. It is not about the stuff. Before we get into where this is coming from and take it where it's going, let me remind everybody I have a daily motivation text that I send out every single day free of charge to everyone who's in my text community. Message guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. You can even respond to any one of those messages and get a response directly from me. I do go through my texts and reply to people every day. My number is 305-384-6894. And if you haven't yet gotten your ticket to Work on Your Game Live, we will probably be closing the ticket sales down relatively soon, but I'm thinking I'm recording this episode before you are actually listening, before the date you're actually listening to it. It will probably still be available by the time you hear this, but if it's not, then it's not. But you should go to workonyourgame.live and see if you can still get yourself a ticket, get yourself a flight, get down here to Miami February 3rd and 4th, 2 full days. Mindset, strategy, systems, and execution is what we'll be covering. That's at workonyourgame.live. And the next step, even whether you're coming to Work on Your Game Live already or not, actually everybody's already coming. So even the next step in addition to that is for you to join the university at workonyourgameuniversity.com, so you get access to all of my courses like Bulletproof Mindset, Sell Yourself, Content Machine, Toughen Up, Becoming a Business Athlete, 30 Days of Discipline to Work on Your Game System, my Business Builder course, my Next Mission course. Those things are not even advertised, but they are all inside of there at workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's your next step to get deeper into this world. With that said, let's get into the topic. Now, what we're talking about here today is really for the business owners and making sure that you understand the value of the people who are coming into your world, not just the value of the stuff that you are giving to them. Your stuff can be anything. So the stuff that I'm talking about here is, it can be information, it can be widgets, physical products, it can be food, it can be clothes. That stuff does not matter as much as the relationships that you build with the people who are getting the stuff, and I'll explain why in the episode today. Point number one, the topic once again is your business is about the relationships, not the stuff. Understand that information, for one, has been and will continue to be commoditized. Information is completely commoditized. So YouTube, Google, podcasts, books that are relatively cheap. Information has pretty much been democratized from 20 to 30 years ago, because the first three things that I mentioned, for the most part, most of them are free. YouTube videos, searching things on Google, listening to podcasts, and books are relatively cheap. Now, a book is usually less than $100. So 20 or 30 years ago, remember when we got the information superhighway, was like this big thing that was going to just change the world, and it actually did change the world. The information superhighway was not a scam. It did actually happen. We got an information superhighway, and now we're all driving on it, and we're all comfortably driving on it in automated self-driving vehicles. We can get access to any information we want at any time. It is literally at our fingertips. And what happened at that time, 20, 30 years ago, is that the gatekeepers of information lost their power because they didn't have access to information that other people didn't have access to. They still had access to information, but now everybody had it, so it was nothing unique about them because everybody had the information. And pretty much these days, anybody can access anything. It does not necessarily mean that they will access anything or that they do access anything, but they could. Any one of us could access most 98% of information that's out there, which means the value of your business is not based on your supreme intelligence, nor is it based on the information that you share, even though people may show up for your supreme intelligence or for your information. What they're showing up for, or what makes them continue to show up, is much more than just the information itself, because if that's all they're showing up for, the problem is eventually that problem will also, the thing that they show up for will also become the reason that they leave. Is if they get all the information that they need from you, then what reason do they need to keep showing up? They already got everything that you got. Everything you could possibly share, they've gotten to the bottom of the well. Now they got to go find somebody else because they've gotten everything that you have to offer, if that's all you have to offer. Point number two, Today's topic, once again, is your business is about the relationships, it's not about the stuff. Number two, people stick to material when or a person when they feel there's a connection between them and the people who present it. And that's what keeps people around, is the connection between them and the person or people who are offering whatever is being offered. For example, there's a sports writer, well, he used to be a writer, now he's a mostly podcaster, a guy named Bill Simmons, who is known as the sports guy. He's from Boston. I think he's based out in California now. He sold his company to Spotify a year or two ago for a lot of money. He still does his podcast, and I still listen to his podcast. But when he used to write, I used to read him more when he was more of a, well, I used to read him a lot when he was an active writer. That's where I first found out about him, as a writer. And for maybe about 15 years, he worked at ESPN. And he became very popular through his writing, so much so, and I became so connected to liking his stuff that I would read Bill Simmons' articles on topics that I wasn't even that interested in. So for example, I don't follow the NFL that closely, but I used to read Bill Simmons' NFL column every Friday, because he would write this column about his picks, and he would just write about each team and the games and stuff like that. I would read his NFL columns every Friday night, even though I wasn't even going to watch the football games that he was writing about. I didn't know who many of the players were that he was even talking about, but I'll read his stuff anyway, not because I was trying to get educated on the NFL, i.e. I didn't care about the information. I was reading it because I liked his style so much. That's why I bought into reading stuff that he was writing about, stuff that, again, wasn't even on my radar. The topic didn't matter. I had bought into the person. And I aim to do the same in my own business. This is why, even here on this show, some of you may have come here looking for a certain thing. And oftentimes people tell me that they found me through this show. They tell me they were looking for a certain subject or a certain topic, whether it was mindset. Maybe you're looking for something for one of your kids. Maybe you're a coach and you're looking for something to give to your players. Maybe you're in business and you're looking for something that was business related, and you found it through this show. But you notice, if you look through the episodes that come out here on this show, you look through the feed, you notice that I talk about a lot of different topics on different days. And my aim is, and I don't do that because of this specific subject that we're talking about here today, but I do that because I'm interested in more than one thing. I think about more than one thing, and I'm not limiting myself to just one topic. There are some shows out there, they limit themselves to only talking about one specific topic, and that's how they do it. That's their discipline. My discipline is I talk about what I'm interested in, and I make it fit into the work on your game framework. And that's what I do with my material. That's why you'll notice I talk about different things. Business, I talk about mindset, I talk about current events. Like today, this is more of a business topic. I talk about relationships, I talk about people skills, I talk critical thinking. I talk about all different kinds of things. Because if all what you're doing is based on, let's say, information, for example, someone could come around and undercut you on price. If you have a widget, somebody could just undercut you on the price. Somebody can knock you off. In other words, copy your product and make a lower price and just take all your customers from you. All right, this is what Amazon does to businesses all the time. In China, products get knocked off all the time. Any product that's doing good, that's made in America, someone in China is going to make a knockoff of that product and start selling a cheaper version to try to steal your customers from you. And they will successfully steal some customers from you. Someone will come along and try to do your thing, whatever it is, better than you do it. Someone will try to spend more dollars in marketing than you spend, or try to disrupt you in a myriad of ways. And some of them may actually be good at it, and they will get a few people in this process. So what is going to keep people connected to you is not the fact that you are quote unquote better, is the fact that they buy into you as a person. They buy into the personality of your brand or your business, whatever it happens to be. That can't be copied, can't be disrupted, and it cannot be replicated by a competitor. This is why getting clear on who you are as the attractive character in your business, that's why it matters so much. Talked about this in episode 2143. You need to get clear on who you are as the attractive character in your business so that people can connect to that person. And that's what's going to keep them around, even as competitors pop up and people try to knock you off or copy what you're doing. This is why your favorite singer or rapper or actor or actress remains your favorite even as they get older. Other artists come along who might be better than they are. Your connection to the person is what keeps you a fan of them. It's not that, oh, they just keep making, their albums are just so amazing, or their singing or their acting is so great. It's the fact that you're connected to who they are as a person, which keeps you as a fan. Even if you go away for a while, you always come back because the connection that you have to the person. It's not that their work is necessarily or objectively better than anyone else's. Point number 3, today's topic once again is, in business, your relationships are what matter a lot more than your stuff. Number 3, here's the strategy. And the question you'll ask yourself: what will allow you to continually connect with people in such a way that is such as they can feel that they know you, such that they can feel that they know you? Let me say that sentence again. I fumbled it. What will allow you to continually connect with people in such a way such that they feel as if they know you? How can people feel like they know you? I have this show right here, this masterclass that comes out every day. This is one way. Another way is through my monthly Bulletproof Bulletin. That's a magazine that you can get from me every single month straight to your physical mailbox. Go to bulletproofbulletin.com and you subscribe and be getting that to your mailbox every day. That page's actually not even out right now, but by the time you hear this, I'm basically connecting myself. I'm committing myself to making sure that that gets done. Since I'm saying it right here on this episode, by the time this comes out, it will need to be done. This is important because connection and emotion, folks, lasts a lot longer than stuff. All right, stuff rusts out. Stuff gets thrown away. All right, how many of you have ever bought something and at the time you bought it, it was this brand new thing and it was so great that you had it, but then 5 years later, it's not so new anymore, you threw it in the trash. Stuff rusts out. Your stuff might bring somebody in the door, but your stuff's not going to keep them in the room forever. You can only keep them in a room for as long as they need the specific stuff that you're offering. And when they don't need the stuff anymore, they don't need you anymore, if that's all you're offering. It's the connection that they have to you that keeps them around longer, if you're able to keep them around longer. This is why having personality in your brand and in your business matters so much. This is why you need to know who is that attractive character in your business. Are you showing up as a certain type of personality that attracts and keeps people keeps people magnetized to you? I talked about personality types in your business in episode 2144. In episode 878, I told you that a key for personal branding is personality. So you really, and also episode 2392, I talked about how to put personality into your content. Is that connection that they have with you that keeps them around much longer. This is why that personality matters. So here's the question you can ask yourself to just get a feel, if you can, for where you are in the minds of your audience. What are people telling their friends and family members about you? Because those are the things about you that, for whatever reason, good or bad, are causing you to stand out. What are the things that are making people remember you? What are the things that are causing people to notice you? What are the things about you that is really catching people's eyes and ears and their hearts and minds, most importantly? Because that's the stuff that they're going to tell other people about when they talk about you. What are those things? And based on what your answers are, here's another question. What do you want them to be as opposed to what they actually are? If those lists don't match up, then maybe you need a change in approach. How do you want people to see you? What do you want them to look at you as? And are you showing up in such a way that gets them to think that? And you want to basically plant this seed in their minds. But if you're not consistent with it and you're not intentional about it, usually they'll come up with their own view of who you are, which is not necessarily a bad thing as long as you're presenting yourself authentically. Now, if you're faking in some way, you want to make sure they're not picking up on just that, because now you got to keep it up. And eventually that mask is going to fall off and now everything falls apart. So all that said, let's recap today's class, which is your business is about the relationships. It is not about the stuff. Point number 1, information has and will continue to be commoditized. It's pretty much been democratized since 20 to 30 years ago, and the gatekeepers of information lost their power. So what you need these days is not supreme intelligence or information. What you need is to make connections with people, because that's what's going to keep them around. Point number 2, people stick to material where they feel there's a connection between them and the people who present it, in addition to the fact that they're actually getting value from the thing. Somebody can stay in your world even after they have gone through all your stuff, simply because they like you. They want to hear what you're going to say. They want to know what your position is on certain things. That's when you have people who are doing that, that's when you know you're really making a connection. I used to read a sports writer who would write about sports that I wasn't even paying attention to, simply because I liked his stuff so much. And I need to do the same thing in my own business. This is why excuse me, this is what you need to be doing in your business. Because somebody can come around and try to undercut you on price, do things better than you, spend more marketing dollars than you spend, or try to disrupt you in a myriad of ways. This is why you got to get clear on who you are as the attractive character in your business, as I talked about in episode 2143. It's not that someone else's job necessarily harder or better than yours. It's just that it is different. Somebody's work, the way they put themselves out, is just different from yours, and you want to be different because that's how you carve out a space in the marketplace. Number 3 strategy is asking yourself what will allow you to continually connect with people in such a way that they can feel as if they know you. What material have you shared in the past that lets people feel like they know you? Have you seen anybody else do it and doing something that you think, you know what, I should steal that and try to do that myself? I have this show, I have my monthly bulletproof bulletin, I got my text. This is important because connection and emotion lasts a lot longer than just stuff. Your stuff can bring somebody in the room, but it won't keep them in the room. You only keep people in the room for as long as they need the specific things that you offer. Is a connection that they have that keeps them around longer than the stuff. This is why personality matters so much in your brand, because the personality is what causes people to connect. All that said, text me. Get my daily motivation straight to your phone every day. My number is 305-384-6894. Second, go to workonyourgame.live. Get your ticket to Work on Your Game Live before we close the cart to the event, which we will be doing soon. There's probably a countdown timer on the page if you go there right now. The event's February 3rd and 4th in Miami. And go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's where you can take your next step. Working with me directly, you get access to my Bulletproof Mindset course, the Next Mission System, 30 Days Discipline course, my Confidence course, ASAP Confidence. You get access to my Content Machine course and Selling Yourself course, Become a Business Athlete. All of those and more, all available at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.